Well, I was saying my name is Freeda Cathcart, and I appreciate this opportunity at this forum to tell you why I'm running for City Council. I'm running for City Council because I care about the state of the city as far as the jobs and the opportunities, and that they're available for everyone. Everybody has an equal opportunity here. My background's in business. I used to work for Szesztay Life Insurance Company, and I automated their reinsurance department. When my first child was born, I was fortunate to be able to leave there to go home and raise my children and be able to successfully do investments from home. Now that my children are grown, they don't need me like they used to, and my investments are doing fine. I'm very grateful for that. I'm aware that not everybody's had the same good fortune that my family has in the city. I want to make sure that the children, as they're educated and come up, there's good quality jobs available for them. My oldest child graduated last year from Roanoke College, which is my alma mater, cum laude with a business degree. So I'm a proud mother. He has a job, a good entry-level job, but if he moves up in that job, they'll move him out of Roanoke. We don't have the career growth opportunities that we used to have in our city. And I want to work on growing local businesses so that our young people have those opportunities for career growth. I also want to work with the schools and the state legislatures to reduce the focus on high-stakes standardized testing, otherwise known as the SOLs. I used to be a certified secondary school teacher, and I can tell you the work that it takes to become a teacher. It is a profession, and they should be respected for doing their jobs. Teachers need to be able to focus on teaching the children instead of teaching the tests. I'm the founder of Let Teachers Teach, and I'm very passionate about this issue. I want to be a voice for our students and the teachers and the people, because I don't feel you all are receiving the quality education that you deserve. So I'm running for City Council to be a voice there to work on these issues, and I appreciate it. Well, so y'all can hear me, right? I would like to make sure that everybody is aware of the resources that are available, because our tax dollars pay for a good bit of them. One of this is the Regional Roanoke Chamber of Commerce. And in the Commerce, there's the Small Business Development Center. And that is there to help small businesses create a business plan so that they can be successful. When I've been out knocking on doors in different neighborhoods, it seems a lot of people are unaware of the resources that do exist here in Roanoke. And there's a disconnect there. Now, the Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce is down on Jefferson Street in downtown. And I would like to explore why there's a disconnect between the resources that are there and the people who need them. And find out how we can get them connected, because everybody has an incentive to make sure that every business is successful, that every neighborhood has the retail and the small businesses there. But it's not happening. And I'm on a mission to find out why that isn't happening and how we can correct that. Because that's going to make a big difference in our city when people have access to those resources. In order to do that, I don't know that there needs to be satellites that go out to different churches and libraries to do sessions, seminars. One of the things I just went to recently at William Ruffner had to do with how to procure government contracts. It's called EEA, and that's a place that you can go to learn when there's jobs that are available in the state of Virginia, how your business can qualify for that. These are just some examples that I've been aware of, and I want to make sure that everybody else is aware of them and takes advantage of them so that they can be successful and we can help our small businesses grow. And I think it's really important to have school board members who will answer questions, who believe in transparency and accountability, who will respect our teachers and advocate for them to be able to focus on our children, who will work to reduce class size and to reduce the amount of benchmark testing, the assessments. The federal government only requires 17 standardized tests. SOLs require 29. My understanding is the Roanoke City school students have what's called benchmark testing, which is even more testing on top of it. And I think it's really important that school board members speak up on behalf of our teachers and our children, advocate for them to have the quality education that our Constitution of Virginia requires. When it comes to the school board budget, of which 40% of it is funded, a lot of that money is going to testing instead of going to our teachers, instead of going to our classrooms. The other thing I would also want the school board member to do is when opportunities come up when we're spending our money, our tax dollars, is that they give preference to local businesses and local workers. There's been a lot of outsourcing of our services in Roanoke City schools. Our school bus drivers, our nurses, our substitute teachers, and recently our food services. And when the school board was going to vote on outsourcing our food services, I pleaded with them not to do that. They signed a 2-year contract with a company that's headquartered in France. That means part of our money from Roanoke is going to the administration of the headquarters in France. I want to keep that money here in Roanoke, recirculating in our own economy, supporting our workers and businesses. Well, I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP, and I stand with the NAACP in asking for the tape to be revealed so that we can have justice. I also stand with them, with us, to have an independent investigation. Because until the truth is revealed, we won't know what happened. And I think that's really important, that there is discovery and justice for Javante? Keontae, thank you. As far as how we address this, over a year ago, there was a workshop that I did with Rob Wormley at the Gainesboro Library. And it had to do with a communication workshop addressing racism. Racism is systemic in our society. And it's a very serious problem that's having lethal results and injustices that are happening. And in order to prevent future tragedies and to address the problems that are facing our nation, we have to communicate about what's happening and acknowledge the truth that racism is systemic in our society. I care about this issue very much. My nephew is a large Black man, and I worry about him. I worry about him being treated unfairly, being discriminated against, and being harmed. I worry not just about him, but everybody. I think it's really important that we work together on this issue. One of the boards that I serve on is on the Points of Diversity, and the purpose of the organization, Points of Diversity, is to build bridges across cultural divides. We live in one of the most segregated cities still in our nation. We have a lot of work to do to build relationships with each other, to learn about each other's perspectives, and to learn how we can grow healthfully together. And my time is up. Well, when it comes to homelessness, there's a lot of different variables that can lead to people losing their homes. One of which, currently, the minimum wage has not kept up with paying people what they should be being paid, a living wage for the hard work that they do. So that's something that I want to advocate for, is making sure that people are getting a living wage so they have the money to pay for either rent or a home. Home ownership is very important. Another thing that's really key to this is the energy costs. Sometimes people rent a home or buy a home and they're not prepared for the heating and cooling costs that come along with it. So that's something that we need to address as a society, is making sure that we use conservation to get those energy costs down. It's good for our environment, it's good for our economy. Another piece is transportation. making sure that public transportation is accessible for people to be able to use to get to their homes, from their homes to work, making sure affordable childcare is near them too. Those are variables. Making sure they have access to health care. Expanding Medicaid, which is not something that you do at the city council level, but something we can advocate for, where people aren't having to choose between paying a bill, the rent, or paying for medication that they may need, that might lead to mental health issues, that might lead to them losing their home. Another thing I would like to look at is a concept called tiny homes. I don't know how many of you have heard about tiny homes, but some cities are using tiny homes, and I would like to see if there's a way that we might be able to bring that concept here. It's really important that people feel a sense of having a home, having that and having ownership of that, of building equity is something that will help lift people out of poverty, that we need to work on together as a community with our state government, with our federal government. And my time is up again. You guys asked really good questions. Thank you. I have many qualifications for serving on city council. One of the things I want to impress you all before this evening concludes is you can make a difference no matter where you are. As a student in school, as a person living in the city, as being a member on city council, you can make a difference. Don't ever let anybody tell you that something is out of your purview. If you have something that you feel passionate about, where you know that there's injustice happening, or you know that people are not being treated fairly, then you should speak out, and people should listen to you. You need to learn the appropriate people that you need to work with to make a difference. As an example, I worked with legislation with Senator Edwards this past session to reduce the number of SOLs in the schools. It didn't pass this session, but we'll be back next session. And the consensus in the General Assembly was that they know that there's a problem and that we do need to reduce that. And that movement is happening because of many voices combined together. And don't be surprised when you see an injustice or something happening that there are other people that are experiencing the same thing, just like there is with racism. And that's why you need to have the courage to speak up and let people know. Let your leaders know that there is a problem so that they can lead and make a difference for you. And that's what I want to impress on you as far as my qualifications for being on city council, because I have been a voice for many people that have been discriminated against and not treated fairly, and I have worked to make a difference. And as a member of city council, I will work to make a difference for you, and mostly to listen to you. When you see something that's not right, I want to be accessible to you, that you come to me and you let me know where there's a problem in your neighborhood, in your community, with employment. And I want to work with you to make Roanoke the best city that we can be. Thank you.